The thing that comes to mind is, to give you a little bit of context, it's 2024.
Yeah.
And I feel like my ladies are on they are in a place where they don't really know what to do, because if they have sex right away with the guy, it can turn against them, because the relationship gets sexual too soon, and then the man only sees them as sexual object, and then there is not enough time to build in the connection, the intimacy, and all the good stuff that makes a relationship glue, the pair bonding. Okay. Now, on the other hand, what I'm seeing in 2024 is that sex is so readily available, it's almost free right now. And on the hand, that if they don't have sex soon,
the
men will run away. So what to do? Please.
It's a great question, because on one hand, and to some degree, you've heard men are hunters, right?
Yes.
Well, what ladies need to understand is men aren't hunting, I want a relationship, I want a relationship. That's not what they're on the hunt for. They are on the hunt for physical connection. That's where that biological drive, coming all the way back from cave people days to now, that's what the hunt is about. So I just want to clarify, when you hear that men are hunters, just recognize it's not a significant relationship. Okay, let's put that in a box for a second. Certainly for men, how we express ourselves is, most intimacy for us is oftentimes physical intimacy. And for women, it tends to be emotional connection is intimacy for them. So what's important is that you actually have both. You have physical intimacy and you have emotional intimacy. Now, with emotional intimacy, it takes more time to build that. So when you're meeting a total stranger, it certainly makes sense to give a little time to cultivate emotional connection with someone. So it probably doesn't behoove a person to meet on a first date, have physical sex, and expect a relationship. Now, or to have a strong intimate connection. However, I have witnessed lots and lots of people had sex on the first date and they're in happy relationships. So that in and of itself doesn't matter as much. What matters more, this is where I want to really get more granular for your audience, is that, now really quickly, my audience, the demographic I speak to is called midlife, which I always say is after baby making years and before retirement. So most of the people I speak to are between the ages of 42 and 69 predominantly. If we're talking about a 20 and 30-year-old that wants to start a family, they have different criteria than those that are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And why it's different for the 40s, 50s, and 60s is most likely they are divorced. I would say roughly 75% of people in the dating marketplace who are over 45 years old are divorced. And with divorce comes an emotional trauma. Why is this? Traditionally speaking, or typically speaking, excuse me, this emotional trauma affects someone's capacity to actually fully lean into a life partnership type relationship. Okay. Now, why am I talking about a life partnership relationship? My messaging is only for those people who seek a life partner type relationship. Some people right after divorce, they're only capable of a short-term relationship. They only want they may not go into it thinking that way, but that's what they might need, is just a small experience to better prepare them. Where I see women make the biggest mistake is not having sex too soon, okay? That is, and I don't even want to call it a mistake. And so let me just say this. Where I see women struggle most is they are not crystal clear on who they are, and more importantly, what they want. I have women coming to me all the time, for coaching. Jonathon, I know what I want, I know what I want, I know what I want in relationship. And then Natalie, they go through this proprietary coaching program I created. And can you guess what they say every single time after working with me for 8 weeks?
I don't know. What do they
They
say?
say, why didn't they teach me this in school? Why didn't my
Oh,
parents teach me this? Oh my God, you made me think. So, one is getting clear on the type of relationship that works for you. And more importantly, how to vet for this. This is where I see women making more mistakes. So they choose the wrong person habitually because they don't know themselves. Now, every human being believes they know themselves.
right,
Okay. It's the delusion that we humans are. And particularly women buy into a fantasy. Well, if we just love each other, magic fairy dust will make incompatible people compatible.
right.
So when I say know the type of relationship you want, it's understanding your values. I mean, really understanding your values. Number two is getting a real sense of your lifestyle. And more importantly, your emotional maturity. So let's spend a few minutes on the emotional maturity piece. Emotional maturity is comes from a place of self-awareness, understanding your love attachment style, understanding your triggers, regulating your emotions, being self-aware enough to know that when you are out of integrity with yourself. And most human beings haven't done the personal development, self-help, and spiritual work to actually know who they are. And this is partly because I remember I said earlier, divorced people are oftentimes wounded.
Right.
Um, we all have some sort of childhood wound or trauma. And by the way, for those, when they hear the word trauma, they think of something big like abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse. They think of trauma in that way, abandonment. Sometimes trauma can be so minute that you didn't even know it existed because you thought you had a happy childhood, but it will directly affect how you choose people in the future. Okay. So knowing yourself is knowing your patterns. Oh, I have a pattern of choosing emotionally unavailable men who are bad boys. Maybe I should stop choosing that person. But Jonathan, they're just so attractive. I mean, I'm so attracted to that bad boy type of guy. I can't change the way I am. You can actually improve upon or grow past your limitations. So I know I gave you a long winded answer to your question.
I think I
Sex
got it. Yeah.
is part of the decision making process for men and women. It is part of the decision making process. Where I believe more weight should be given is to determine compatibility and to vet this person. The problem is we are so indoctrinated in the entertaining one another. Oh, dating should just be fun. Have a good time. Let's just have a good time. It's all about having a good time. The man must climb to the highest room to the tallest tower, and I should have a good time while he does it. And he should pay for dates and all this stuff. People go in so naively, so ambivalently, and then they find themselves going, oh my God, I'm attached to a person that's completely incompatible. Oh, let me just try even harder. Let me just make more of investment because this magic fairy dust, and no disrespect to the ladies listening to this, you guys are beautiful creatures. Your one deficiency in my mind is that the fantasy outweighs the reality. And more importantly, it's the belief that love equals relationship success. Well, let's look at this. The average person watching this has probably had 3 relationships that lasted 3 months or longer in their life. And if you're still watching this, I mean, for those that are in a relationship watching this, you might be getting a different benefit. But love wasn't the reason why your relationship failed. What reason why it failed most likely is you didn't share the same values, your
Right.
lifestyles weren't compatible, you didn't have a life vision together, and more importantly, most human beings have weak emotional maturity and weak relationship skills. So right behind me is a stack of books, just like right behind you there's a stack of books to teach us how to be in better in relationship. And if I can make one recommendation to everybody watching today, besides recommending my book called What the Heck is Self-Love Anyway, A Journey of Personal Development, Self-Help, and Spiritual Work, has nothing to do with dating and relationship, but I got to make a plug for my work.
Yes.
I recommend everybody get this book. It's called Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to improve your relationships going forward, and by the way, this should have been titled Compassionate Communication.
Uh,
When we human beings can learn to speak from the heart, we have a greater chance of relationship success.
No.
Oh, you're going to go grab a book now.
Well, it's the same one, but look,
Okay.
mine is destroyed to show you this. This was the first book I got 20 years ago when I decided to do the work in this area of love and relationships. This.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for saying that. Sorry that
Oh,
I get so
no,
excited.
that's okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I
Um,
threw you off. So, okay, so to recap a little bit in a couple of words, I'm butchering it completely.
that's okay.
The focus shouldn't be on sex. The focus should be more on the whole picture of how compatible we are, getting to know ourselves, knowing what we want. And
Yes.
now my question to you is, you said that, knowing yourself, and that most people think they know themselves and really they don't.
Yes.
So what do you mean by that? But knowing yourself. I mean, I have my own coaching
So
about it, of course, but I want to see what you think about that. What is your wisdom on what do
I
you
actually have a chart. I have a list here. The coincidence.
Oops, I can't hear you, Jonathan.
Oh,
Now I can. Thank you.
okay. Knowing thyself is knowing oneself is a self-love practice starting with self-understanding. So from a dating or relationship perspective, number one is knowing your love attachment style. If you're not familiar with the book Attached by Amir Levine and Rachel Heller, I recommend every woman read this book to understand your attachment style. Now, sadly, most human beings fill out the questionnaire, and because they answer the way they think they are versus the way they actually are, most human beings come up with secure. But in reality, most human beings are they're insecure. They either have an anxious attachment style or an avoidant attachment style. So number one, learning your attachment style based on your past relationships. Number two, when you are triggered, it's no one else's responsibility to manage your feelings. It's your responsibility to manage your feelings. So self-responsibility is part two of know thyself. And this isn't in order. Self-awareness. Self-awareness is recognizing I'm going to read from my own
Yes.
recognizing one's fears and insecurities, negative judgments of others, and how one's actions affect others, your limiting beliefs, your negative patterns that bring one pain, and the ability to shift to love when in emotional pain. So self-awareness is being able to recognize that most everything that happens in your life, not everything, but most everything, is a result of your actions. And to be able to course correct, because we often, here in the United States, we are suckling on the nipple of victim consciousness. It's always the guy, like women, it's his fault. Men, it's her fault.
I
I mean, we are so victim oriented, self-awareness. Now, another thing about know thyself is know your weaknesses. Like, look, I kind of get stressed out when I travel. I'm not the best person to travel with. Well, if you're a woman who needs the most stoic, confident man, I'm just going to tell you up front, this is my weakness. If that doesn't work for you, it's probably not a fit, but I know my weakness. Okay. I know I sometimes get defensive when I feel I'm attacked. These are things I know. So know your deficiencies or weaknesses. Now, when I say the word deficiency or weaknesses, we are perfect beings. So let me be clear, but things that don't serve us at our highest and best all the time. Another thing is taking ownership of your past relationships. Once again, it always seems like women have dated every single narcissist on the planet. Men have dated every gold digger on the planet. The reality is even if it was someone else's, but there was a betrayal in your past relationship, we are all at a minimum 3% responsible for some aspect of the failure of this relationship or ending of a relationship. So we take ownership on our part.
right.
Another component of knowing thyself is healing, doing the personal development, self-help, and spiritual work and self-care work to heal. Another component of know thyself is relationship readiness, Natalie, is a reflection of your desire for a relationship exceeds the fear and pain of any past relationship. Number one, the desire exceeds the fear and pain. A lot of people are still in pain or fear, and that desire doesn't exceed it. Number one. Number two, when you meet somebody, the desire for that person exceeds the fear, the pain, and the differences. See, a lot of women get caught up the differences. Oh, he ate his peas with a fork. Oh, you know what? He's not going to work for me. Your desire, and I'm being tongue in cheek, I'm using a Seinfeld episode, but he's 1 inch shorter than what I want. Okay. If your desire for that person doesn't exceed whatever differences you have, you're going to have friction and misalignment with that person. Now, another component of know thyself is what I call victor consciousness. Victor consciousness. As I said earlier, we are sadly in the United States suckling on the nipple of victim consciousness. So, victor consciousness is taking full ownership in your life. I said earlier, relationship skills. Well, the book Nonviolent Communication is probably one of the most important tools for having effective communication. No disrespect to you, ladies, and men are equally terrible about what I'm about to say is, but ladies, just because you can vomit your feelings doesn't necessarily mean that you can identify what your feelings, let alone articulate your feelings in a way that can be seen, heard, and understood. I have witnessed women babble, 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 and say nothing, and they feel like they're communicating. Okay. And by the way, men are no picnic here either. They struggle connecting with their heart. I think the other component of know thyself is know your must-haves and your deal breakers. I continually witness women completely discount their must-haves for somebody that they have chemistry for, or they discount their deal breakers because they have chemistry for a person. You have to know what you must have in deal breakers. And lastly, I think when you know yourself, you know your purpose in life, meaning your purpose goes beyond a relationship, because when you know your inner compass, you are better prepared to be in a healthy, happy relationship with another human being. I'm done.
Slow clap for you. Thank you. Thank you. That was brilliant. Thank you.
Very welcome.
So packed. So packed. This is a video, ladies, you'll have to watch a couple of times. So good thing you're going to have time to do it. I'm going to replay it during the weeks. So, Jonathon, I know you have to leave. What is your free gift for the ladies? I know you have something under your sleeve, and if you don't know it right now, I can write it down for them.
Well, my gift is going to be what's called my dating vows. And what this is, there is a saying, women are the gatekeepers of sex and men are the gatekeepers of commitment. So
Right.
we talked about sex earlier. The dating vows is a list of questions to ask someone before you give your heart away, before you give your body away to another, not away, but give your body to another human being. There's a series of questions to determine if you're on the same page, and you make a vow to one another, much like a wedding vow. You do this before you either give your heart, or you invest your heart in someone, or at least invest your body. It's called my dating vows. And in addition, I invite you to go to my YouTube channel. It's my name listed here, Jonathon Aslay. Go to my YouTube channel. I record 5 videos a week, most of them live stream, so you can ask questions live, and it's a very fun, entertaining channel, and I have almost 200,000 subscribers. So
I know, I am so impressed. So impressed. Goals. Jonathon Aslay, my goals. My goals. I have a YouTube channel, but I get 1 new subscriber and I'm like, yes.
yay! Well, it took a lot of work to get there, so we'll see if we can help you in that capacity, Natalie.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you again. I have no words to express my gratitude. You are brilliant. You are doing amazing work. Ladies, please get that free gift. It takes 1 second to get it. I already signed up for it. Took 1 second. So do it. Take advantage of it and practice what this amazing man, this wise man with a lot of experience has shared with you. Okay, let's take action. Thank you so much.
Thank
Anything
you.
else you would like to say before we leave?
Nope, I think we're complete.